Welcome to the Cat Cannabis Show on New Earth TV. I'm your host, Kathleen O'Keefe Kanavos, aka Kat, and I am the co-author of the new Amazon #1 bestseller, Dreams That Can Save Your Life, Early Warning Signs of Cancer and Other Diseases by Inner Traditions, Simon & Schuster. Tonight we have a great show for you. What does SuperWoman mean to you? I mean, some of us can remember, is it a plane? Is it a bird? No, it's Superman. But what is SuperWoman? Well, we have two Superwomen with us tonight who are going to tell us what it means to be a Superwoman and why we all need to be one and how we can be one. We have Commander Celeste Gleave with us. When the suicide and homeless rates of women veterans skyrocketed, Celeste Graves knew she had to do something to help heal and change existing systems for women warriors and victims of violence. She used her considerable business and government clout to build something extraordinary through SHEROES United. We're going to ask her more about that in a minute. Our second Superwoman is Sue Melke. She is a humanitarian at heart. And the I Am a Superwoman campaign was born out of Sue's commitment to further human rights and her deep desire to create a community call that could empower women to say no and to say me too. Welcome to the show, ladies.
Thank you so much, Kat. Thank you.
So let's start with you, Commander. Tell us a little bit about what you do and how you started working with suicide and women veterans.
Okay, I'll try and make it quick because I know we're on a timeline here. What I do is I actually, I came from a past of a honorary civic leader for the military. I was vetted in to work at the Pentagon, working with the Air Force families and the Air Force Reserve families. And I was basically asked to be a bridge between the two communities. What I saw while I was in there was a tremendous love of family and whatnot. But what I also saw was what was happening as people came out of the military and the resources that were available to them. So as I looked at the resources and I started seeing that younger and younger women were exiting the military, and they had no place to go. So we were starting to see a dramatic increase in suicides. So I left the Pentagon with the purpose of starting my own army, an army of love, an army of women that dared to change the world through our work. But that is our mission, is dare to change the world through love.
So I understand that Forbes magazine wanted to profile you in an upcoming issue of Most Powerful Women in the U.S., and you asked Forbes magazine instead to honor your board and their contributions and tireless efforts in the crisis women are facing in the world. Oh, kudos to you. You are a superwoman.
Thank you for saying that, but what we do individually, all of us, I could never do this alone, and I could never feel authentic standing there accepting an award or accepting some sort of a nomination that had the footprints of everyone that I'd worked with. So if I have the opportunity, I will always shine a light on those that work with me before I shine it on myself, because that's how we all grow, and we grow the people around us. We empower the people around us, and when you do that, you find that they're not only committed to you emotionally, and they thank you for that, but then they feel like they've got a vested interest in the project, and they move forward knowing that you're on their side and you have their back. So.
Oh, that is the definition of a superwoman. So, Sue, tell us about your being a humanitarian and how you are furthering the rights of women in the community by empowering them.
Well, this is actually the I Am a Superwoman campaign. It's actually a movement to encourage personal accountability and individual responsibility so that we can get past. I mean, the Me Too movement was so fantastic for what it did was it made everybody feel safe with the safety in numbers and people talking and speaking out and finally saying what they wanted to say for so long. And that was because of the solidarity that the Me Too movement created unfortunately through pain and personal pain. But what it did do was it made people go, you know what, I'm not the only person out here. So what we're trying to do is to do the same thing, but with a little more forward thinking. So it's more of an empowerment stance of what are my personal rights? What can I do individually or with, working with other people? What can I do to make this world a better place? So with this whole concept, it's a case of recalibrating society's mindset because of the way that we're in the midst of hatred. I mean, there's even a gender war thing happening at the moment, which is really quite sad. And what's happening is that they're pointing fingers at the Me Too movement and the Time's Up movement, and it's no one's fault. It's just a case of people undermining a beautiful thing where we're wanting to have some solidarity and some support. So this I Am a Superwoman movement is about actually unity. It's about bringing everybody together. It's about men and women becoming one, and it's equality. And as long as we can get equality and then re-educate our kids and children about how to be conscious around their friends and how to take that love and that humanity into the next generation and to take it as they go through school and into work, and suddenly we'll have a brand new group of leaders who can actually take us through to the next generation and the ones thereafter, and maybe there'll be a little more humanity in the world.
Barbara Niven suggested that the two of you come on to my show because she wasn't able to make it. And then Teresa Velarde, my soul sister there, Teresa, made it happen. She made the contacts for me. So this really is an I Am a Superwoman movement where women are saying, well, I can't do it, but this woman over here can. So it's not like, well, no, we can't have the interview because I can't do it. Did you to meet Barbara Niven?
Barbara's my business partner, and we've been business partners for, is it like 4 years now or something like that?
Wow.
She's amazing, and she's a producer on this as well. So we're very honored to have her as a producer. And so is Bridget Cook-Birch, the executive director of SHEROES United. So there's 4 of us. And yeah, Barbara's just an absolute inspiration. And what she does for just her fans, let alone everybody else she talks to, but her fans just adore her because she's so giving, as you would know, Kat. And Teresa's adorable too. We love Teresa. But it's really great having the support of people like that on board. And Barbara just fell in love with this whole thing from the get-go. I just was telling her about it. She's like, oh my God, I love it. It's exactly everything that she believes in. So it was a no-brainer to get her on board.
So can you tell our audience a little bit about Barbara in case they don't know who she is? Know her, so we love her, and I have to sometimes remember that there might be somebody watching who doesn't.
Well, Barbara's celebrating 30 years of being in the film and entertainment industry. She's amazing. She started late in her life, and she keeps saying, she had the big aha moment was when she got something in the mail for a school reunion, and it said, "What have you done? Have you achieved everything in your life?" And she thought to herself she hadn't. So she basically got out there at, I don't want to tell you her age, and she's probably going, tell them. But she basically got out there and started from scratch and decided she wanted to be an actress, and she did everything. I mean, the woman's stories are remarkable, how she went in and told them she wanted to be a news journalist and got in there and got stories happening, and she was just amazing. So she's absolutely an inspiration. And then she also is a great emotional support for women who are struggling with everything from, bulimia. She's had experienced bulimia for 30 years, and she talks about that. She talks about empowerment issues. She talks about all kinds of things. She's an ambassador for the American Humane. So she's just a great all-round lady and truly a dear, dear friend of mine.
So, Commander Gleave, what would you suggest a woman do if she wants to be a part of this Iron Woman movement?
Well,
how can she be a part of this?
There's a lot of different ways. There's definitely, we have a way to sign up, so we're collecting names so that we can get the information out. So she could come to our SuperWomanCampaign.org site, and she could sign up, and that we've created a program where that woman will, or that man, and I want to tell you, we have quite a substantial amount of men, and that needs to be brought up probably. But that any person can sign up, and then what happens is they get put into a spot where we then send them weekly updates as to how the campaign is going, and they can see that Sue has been very, very proactive in engaging these various media, wild, wonderful media events that are about to take place. It's going to blow people's minds. And what you're looking at here is a woman that's so full of ideas and so full of, she's been brought here to change our planet. And and I'm not saying that just for the Sue Melke. I'm saying that for it takes all of us to be a leader. But she had a vision with I Am a Superwoman. And I had a vision with SHEROES United. And I knew that I couldn't change the world and couldn't stop human trafficking and couldn't stop domestic violence. And Sue knew exactly what we're up against, but she brought a campaign that is so timely, that is so inspirational, that has so many spot-on points that we have not yet talked with anyone that has said, this, when are we doing it? And literally, we all are being guided by, we believe, a higher power for this, because this is something that has been an emotional investment, a physical investment, and for all of us, it is something that we're putting into a whole entire future, our entire future. And I say that because we've learned how vital it is for men and women to work together, and we've learned, and Sue ticked on it a little tiny bit, but we want to create a world where the children's voices recalibrate the adults, because we were so cuddly and yummy when we were little kids, and we loved one another with no judgment. So this campaign really speaks from the very beginning and then blossoms out. And Sue and her vision has created this, and we together with our organization, we feel like we're onto something gigantic.
Gosh, Commmander Celeste Gleave is fantastic. I didn't get a chance to say how incredible she is and how incredible the team is. I'm so honored to be able to align with a group. I mean, they're called SHEROES United, and ironically, the SuperWoman thing with the Shero and all that, but it wasn't. It was more than that. It just was perfectly timed, though. But she's an inspiration. She's my touchstone every day, and I appreciate her more than she would ever know.
So SHEROES is basically the superhero or the she-hero?
That's a good way to say it.
Both. Both. Okay, because I love that when I saw SHEROES United, I was like, a she-hero.
Right.
I love that.
No one had ever, there's been people, Maya Angelou coined it, and it's never took off, but when I was talking to my mother right before she passed away, and she was dealing with cancer, something that I know is in your heart and soul, and you dealt with, and I just looked at her, and it just came out. I said, "Mom, you're my Shero," and she just said that word, and it sent goosebumps at me, because I said I have to use that word. And so I looked at it, and SHEROES United means we're all coming together. We're telling our stories. We're joining hands. We're linking arms, and we're going together, and we're walking together to create a movement that works for everyone. And people shouldn't be hiding behind a mask, and people shouldn't be hiding behind anything that they're ashamed of or that they feel that they should have shame for. They should step out of that and into the light and express what's on their mind. Because again, the cancer is a hard word to say, but holding in a secret is in a way a kind of a cancer in itself, because it eats at you so hard. So the minute you burst that secret out, you have opened the door to healing yourself. And that's where it all started for us, is we needed a soft landing place.
Yes. So those of you listening on the Facebook Live, and I know that there are people out there because I'm watching my phone, and it's lighting up all the time. If you've been through a crisis, and who hasn't, embrace it, because it is that crisis that made you the strong woman you are today. It gave you the depth of empathy you could never possibly have. How could you possibly imagine what it would feel like to be raped or beaten or sold as a slave in white trafficking, or serving in the military and coming home to nothing. Changing that mindset from, yes, I have to take care of all these people around me. I have to guard them. I have to keep them alive, to coming home to, we don't have any work for you. And, oh, by the way, you don't have a place to live. That's what makes you so strong. That's what makes you a superwoman. And so let's all join hands. Let's get together. Don't worry about your scars, whether they're on the inside or the outside, because I always say a scar is just a tattoo with a darn good story. So, how can we find you guys? Celeste, how can we find you?
You know what? Sue has that.
I'm waiting because
she just gave me a Sue. How can we find you?
Well, you go superwomancampaign.org. That's one. Superwomandonations.org, if anyone feels inclined, would be fantastic for us to get some donations. And we also have an incredible video challenge on at the moment too. It's about basically it's you telling your own personal bill of rights. So, we're having people like an ALS ice bucket challenge, but without the ice or the bucket. And it's just a case of you telling, doing a toast to the women that have started this 170 years ago. And we want you to talk about what your personal bill of rights is. I have the right to feel safe in my school. I have the right to love who I want to love. Or all of these things that you want to say, however you want to say it. And it could be, I have the right to not, be raped. So these are the things that we want people to embrace. And that's why I said to you, like the Me Too movement, our movement wants to put some solidarity out there, but also for victims who are currently in domestic violence situations or sexual trafficking or anything like that. So we want to try and be a support mechanism for them and for them to see it out there around them, other women saying, I have the right to do this, this, this. They may not realize that they too have the rights for that, and it might wake a few people up. So we want to really help in that way as well.
So you can go to superwomancampaign.org. So thank you both so much for being a guest on the Cat Kanavos Show today. And for all of our listeners, you've been listening to the Cat Kanavos Show on New Earth TV and watching it, because this does go on to Spreaker, iHeart, and quite a few other syndications as well. And a big thanks to our producer, Rachel Love. Tune in next week for more shows, more people, and more strong superwomen. You never know. Most of the women I have on my show are superwomen, whether they know it or not. Until next time, everybody, good night.